for making time and being here.
Yeah, thank you.
Valuable time for everyone, but it's very, very important to understand this subject as well. So thank you, Kapil Prabhu, Mataji, everybody. Thank you for coming again. So we started this course, Journey of Self-Discovery, last week. Last week was the first session. So there are module 1 we discussed last week, search for happiness. So we are going to do a quick recap of that. And then the module 2 that we are discussing today, we are going to discuss this, does God really exist? And the third module is who am I? Science of soul. Module 4, one God or many gods, maybe depending on how the second module goes today, we might switch module 3 with 4. Maybe module 3 will be one God versus one God or many gods, because today we are discussing does God really exist. So then maybe we'll do one God or many gods next week. And then module 5, why do bad things happen to good people? Module 6 is what is yoga, and practical application of the Bhagavad Gita. So these are the 7 modules that we are going to discuss in this seminar. So again, these whatever I am teaching, whatever I am explaining, these are not my own thing. These are coming from Bhagavad Gita as it is, and also teachings of Srila Prabhupada, who is the founder of International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Okay. So I may be giving some examples here and there based on my own realizations and understandings, but the core philosophy, the core principles, everything is coming from Bhagavad Gita and from Srila Prabhupada's teachings. Okay, so last week we discussed search for happiness. So, who remembers what we discussed last week? Anything, whatever you guys remember last week.
Difference between animals and humans.
Yes, so the one thing we discussed was that what is the difference between animals and human beings? So what is that? Seed. Very nice. Seed. So what is that acronym? Seed means SEED, seed. Sridu, please come.
Sleeping, eating,
SEED, seed.
enjoying and
different.
Enjoying and defending. Okay, so for the people who joined new today, so basically we talked about the difference between animals and human beings. What are common and what are the differences between both these? So the acronym SEED stands for sleeping, eating, enjoying and defending. So in Sanskrit, there is a verse from Mahabharata which says Ahara Nidra Bayamaitunam cha Samanyameta Pashubhi Narana Dharmo Hitesham Adiko Vishesha Dharmena Hina Pasubi Samana. So Ahara, eating, Ahara Nidra, sleeping, Ahara Nidra Baya, defending propensity, and then the Maithuna means spirit of enjoyment or sexual activity, procreation. So these are the 4 things that are common between animals and human beings. So then the line goes that Samanya Meta Pashubi Narana. Pashu means animals, Nara means human beings. So Samanya Meta means both are equal, same for both these. However, Dharmo Hitesham Adiko Vishesha. So Adiko Vishesha means what is that extra that human beings possess? That is to ability to follow Dharma. That is the only thing that is extra for human beings. And if Dharmena Hina Pasubi Samana, if the human beings are not following the Dharma, whatever is that Dharma, if human beings are not following, then basically there is no difference between animals and human beings. Basically, human beings are 2-legged animals. So that's what our scripture says. So, and why we discussed it? Because everybody is looking for happiness, and we all want the happiness which is permanent. So the happiness that we experience in this life is basically temporary, which has a beginning and which has an end. And also, whenever we try to enjoy in this material world, the world that we are in, so we know that it's a temporary, meaning it has certain beginning and it has an end. So we cannot have this happiness all the time, right? And so we are all looking for permanent happiness, and also it is ever increasing. Hey Raj, you are okay to sit on the floor or you want to pull a chair?
Yeah, thank you.
Good? Okay.
I just can't read.
So, and we all want permanent happiness, long-lasting permanent happiness, and ever-increasing, and we need variety also. And we discussed about the real problems of life. What are the real problems of life? People say so many problems on a day-to-day basis that losing a job may be a problem, or the many problems that we talk about. But what exactly is the real problem? And we talked about the
Nobody wants it.
three filter criteria. Right, so what are those three things?
Yeah, nobody wants it.
Mhm.
Then, well, I forgot those two other things. Everybody
Everybody gets it.
gets it. Yeah.
And what is the other one? What are the three things when we say, it's a real problem? What is to be defined as a real problem? When can we say that
It is
this is a
same.
real problem?
It is same to everyone.
Yeah,
it's
the
common
same.
to everyone.
Common to.
It's a common to everyone.
To everyone, yeah.
Nobody wants it, but everybody has to go through it. So these are the three things. When we say a problem is a real problem, it has to pass these three tests. It's common to all. Nobody wants it, but everybody has to experience. We cannot avoid that. Then we discussed what are those real problems then. What are the common things? Body, right. So we came up with that acronym BODY, BODY. So what are the 4 real problems of life? Birth, old age, disease, and death. So basically Y stands for Yamaraj, which is basically to remind us of death basically. So body, BODY, birth, old age, death and disease and death. Oh, it's right there actually. So, and these are, if you think about it, these 4 are common for everyone. These 4 are common for everyone. So that's why they are real problems of life. And also there are threefold miseries. What are the threefold miseries that we talked about last week?
Adi Devi, Adi Bhautik.
Uh-huh. Okay, can you explain what Adhyatmika means?
Miseries, calamities like the Adhyatmika is mental problems.
Yeah, Adhyatmika is basically the problems caused by one's own body and mind. Okay? Atmika, Atma means self. So the problems caused by one's own body and mind. Right? So we have so many mental problems, mental illnesses that people go through, and bodily illnesses, so many diseases, so many things are there with the body. So that is one. And the second one is Adi Bhautika. Adi Bhautika means?
Natural.
No.
Living entities. Other living
So
entities.
Adi Bhautika is the problems or miseries caused by other living entities. So the latest example, the COVID. So just because of one bacteria, this thing we are all suffering, right? So whether it is bacteria, whether it is COVID, whether it is malaria, whether it is dengue, so many things we are disturbed, or all these things are causing troubles to us, miseries to us. So there is Adi Bhautika. So the first one is Adhyatmika, problems caused by, miseries caused by one's own mind and body. The second one is the problems or miseries caused by other living entities around us. And the third one is Adi Daivika. Adi Daivika means the natural calamities or superpower, superior power. So like all these earthquakes or famine or excessive heat, excessive snow, cold, the hurricanes, twisters, all these things. These are the problems caused by. So these are the 7 things that are not, because of which we are not able to be happy all the time. Because of these 4 real problems of the life and threefold miseries, we are not able to experience the permanent happiness or long-lasting happiness because of that. Okay. So now we said, then we talked about the technology. There are so many technological and science, advancements, but are they really solving our problems? Are they really solving our real problems of life? So the science is promising so many things. They're always giving a rain check, but future check, but still they could not stop the diseases. There is no question of stopping death. The old age, nothing is stopped. Everything is going on. So the technology is advancing. It is like going with a high speed without any direction. So that's how the things are going on right now. So we need to address how we can get the permanent, long-lasting happiness. So you can get that only by connecting to somebody or something where we can get permanent happiness. We are trying to seek happiness in a place which is defined as Dukhalayam Ashashvatam. Okay, this place, the world that we live in, it is defined as Dukhalayam and Ashashvatam. Dukhalayam means, so place of misery. The place is designed like that. You cannot experience permanent happiness because the place itself is designed by somebody, right? And dukkha means ashashvatam. Ashashvatam means it's a temporary place. So whenever we see temporary thing, that means we should understand that our happiness cannot be permanent because we are dealing with something temporary, right? So that's the reason we have to connect to that place, or we have to connect to that individual who can give us this permanent happiness, or we have to go to a place which is not dukkhalayam. You have to find a place where you can get eternal, long-lasting happiness, or you have to connect to the source who can give us that happiness. So that's where we ended last time, right? So now the question is, the transition from that one to today's topic is that if there is a creator, why did the creator create such a place which is defined as dukkhalayam and ashashvatam? Why somebody had to create it? If at all there is a creator, we will see if there is a creator first of all. And if at all there is a creator, why the creator had to create a place where we have to experience all these miseries? Why we can't be always happy here? Why didn't he or she, whoever, the creator did not create the place where we can enjoy eternally, long-lasting happiness? Why he did not do that? Why did he? So that's it. Yeah.
For fun. Great enjoyment.
For his enjoyment, right? How can we be part of his enjoyment? We have to see that so that we can enjoy as well. Okay. So that leads us to the module 2 that we are going to discuss today. Does God really exist? So, $1 million question. What do you all think? What do you all think? You know?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. Mataji, anyone has any difference of opinion, or does everybody believe that there is God? Would you like to say?
No, yeah, I believe.
You believe God is there. Okay. Everyone believes here. There's no question. Raj, you are okay?
Definitely.
Okay. All right.
Then we can move on to third module.
Everybody understands. So everybody knows God exists. Then what is the point of discussing? So there is one. There was a story. What is it?
I think yes, you can believe or you cannot believe, but I think it's a good idea to at least bet on it, because if there's no God, then we're all alone, and I'd rather at least belief. You don't know if he's real or not. Belief, at least there's some hope, you know. So
you are not sure,
yeah.
but at least let's believe that there is something.
Yes.
There is a God. Let's believe. At least that will give us some kind of a solace or peace or fear, whatever. So that way people can function properly.
Right.
Without it.
Can-
Kapil, you wanted to say something? No, right? Okay.
I-
Yes, sir.
Just an additional point, like God exists but we don't know about his form. So what I mean by that is, do we really know the true form of God?
Okay. So
I-
that's a different question. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you believe that there is God, but we don't know the form of God.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the next topic. But right now, so it looks like pretty much everyone believes in God, but Muru says that at least we don't know, but at least let's assume that there is a God.
If there is a God.
If there is a God. So there was a village. It's a story basically, and the villagers came to know that there is a saint who is very good in about speaking philosophy, spirituality, and about God. So then they decide to call this saint, so that they could hear from the saint. So they invite him, and the saint comes, and first question the saint asks is that, do you believe in God? Do you believe in God? Everybody says, yes, we believe in God. Then the sage gets up and says, everybody knows about God, then what is there to speak? And he leaves. Then they don't know what to do, they get confused. So next time they say, okay, they come to an agreement. They all discuss, say that next time when he comes, let us say that we don't know anything. We don't know anything. So then they invite him again. Then the sage asks the same question. So do you know about God? And he says, we don't know anything. Then the sage says that if you guys don't know anything about it, there's no point me speaking about God also, because you'll not understand. So he walks away again, right? And then they decide next time, okay, no, this is not working out well. So why don't we say half people will say yes, half people will say no. So at least then he will speak. Then they call him again, and again the sage asks. As planned, half of the people say yes, half of the people say no. Then they say that whoever knows, just explain to the other half. I don't have to speak here. So the point of this story is that yes, many times people think they know God, or at least they believe in God, what are some of the reasons why people believe in God? What are the reasons, like some, all of you said, yes, there is a God. What makes you believe that there is God? Or in general, what people think, what people believe when they say there is God?
Supreme power is there.
Okay?
That's the belief.
I just asked this question.
If there is a creation, there should be a creator.
Yeah.
Okay, so you are thinking there is God because there is a creation, so that means creation implies
A
creator. That's what you are saying. Okay. Any other reasons why people think there is a God? Why? What makes people believe that there is God in general? Especially people who did not read Bhagavad Gita.
I think
I
it's
don't
because
know, I just go by my real experiences, you know.
Real experiences means
My personal experiences, like one time I was driving on a highway, you know, and then there was my car hydroplaned, and then, you know, nothing happened to me. It just, something happened that created a path where I could go, and just, there was a, you know, a little hill on the side off of 315. It just stopped. And I stopped, I was looking, you know, then it was a rush hour. You know, there were so many like big trucks, and they were going at, you know, 65, 70 miles per hour. And then I thought, how did I survive this?
Oh.
My son was, this was many years ago, and that's when I started believing, okay, then there was, in few seconds, there was this narrow path for me. You know, everybody kind of moved away, or from, I was on the extreme left lane to the right, I had to go to the right, and then stop. Nothing happened to me or my car, no scratch. So that's when I started believing there is
There's
somebody out there.
Mm.
This is what. I know we pray God in so many different forms, we have lots of gods, but this is my personal experience. And
Okay.
also, like praying and things like that, we pray. That gives me inner strength,
Mm.
out of inner strength.
So there is
I can
something which is
cope.
giving you that.
I
yeah.
can cope, you know, as you said, the life is, you know, is full of all these external circumstances, you know, happen, right? The disease, this and that to me or to somebody in the family and all that. So how do you cope, right?
Mm.
You have to accept and then pray. I have a, you know, meditation, yoga, praying that gives me like an inner strength.
Got
So
it.
all those experiences make me believe, yes, there
There's
is
something.
something
There's
there
original.
to protect me too. Yeah.
Gotcha. Very nice. Very nice. Anybody else wants to say? A couple?
Oh,
Oh.
she expressed it just fine. I mean, I think people just are looking for hope. Whether you have something bad happen, good happen, like miracles. Why did this happen to me?
Gotcha.
Right? I mean, if you're not having a good experience, maybe you want to have hope that there's something better out there. And if you're having, just what the young man says over there, you know, the rationale.
Yeah.
We're
Muru.
looking for a rationale of why this is happening to me and to us.
Mm. Okay. Anyone wants to share anything else? Why in general people believe in God? There are no further comments. We can. So in general, people, and most of the time, they fall under these four categories. The people who believe in God fall under these categories. Because they believe in God because of the fulfillment of desires. They have some desires, you know, whether it is wealth, health, you know, whatever they are going through, whatever certain things. When they go to God, then their desires will be fulfilled. So that's the reason, you know, they believe that there is something higher power. So I go there, my desire is fulfilled. Like in college days, you know, most of you may remember, especially in the college days, especially the students who never go to, you know, a temple, but exactly the day before exam, everybody puts a big, you know, they go to, you know, temples, they go to worship places, you know, they immediately pray very sincerely, you know, they go circumambulate the temple, they do so many things, right? And, you know, with big tilak, they go to the examination hall also. Until then, they don't have any, they have never visited the temples, but they go there, right? Because for some reason they feel that, yes, you know, when I go to God, when I pray to Him, my desires will be fulfilled. So, a fulfillment of desires. Fear of unknown. You know, like Muru was saying just now, if I do not do this, if I do not do this puja, if I do not do this worship, then there is some superpower or supreme power they may cause some troubles to me.
If they are.
Yeah. So just in case, why not? Just in case, why not? If there is somebody, if I don't worship him, he may do something to me, right? So so sometimes people they don't really believe in God. They don't have full belief in God. But when they are opening, some house warming, it could be a house warming, or they are opening some store or some business or whatever, they immediately call a priest and to do all these pujas and everything, the worships. You never believed in God. Why are you doing this? Just if I give $10, the pujari will come and do the service. This whole thing. Why should I have to bother? Give $100 or $150, the pujari will come and say, they do all the puja. If at all there is God, at least he will be pleased, so that he will not interfere in my business. So the fear of unknown is there. Because of the fear, if I don't do this puja, if I don't do Satyanarayan Vrat, if I do not do this Vrat or that Vrat, then God will be upset. Somebody will be upset, so I have to do my thing. So fear of unknown. And sometimes it is social pressure, because my neighbor did puja and they invited 100 families, so now I should do puja, I should invite 150 families to make it big, or I should have a big deities at home. So out of social pressure, everybody is going, so I also should go to the temple and then worship. Social pressure. And the last one is very common, traditions and blind beliefs. Because why are you worshipping? Right from the childhood at my home, so we are worshippers of Lord Vishnu, my parents and all, right? So there is puja every day, all these things are going on. But I also used to go and do that, but I did not know anything about it. Why I am praying, why I am worshipping. Pretty much that is the case with most of us as growing up, especially from Indian background. Our traditions are there. We simply, because our parents asked us to go and worship, we just go and worship. But why do we really do that? When we ask questions, there is no answer. Even our kids, when they ask questions, we have been following this tradition from ages. We just simply follow, don't ask any question. So that's how we are. So it's a blind belief. Yeah, Raj.
So desires, right?
Yeah.
So there's material desires, and now, I know maybe this will come later, but I'm just going through it now, and you can defer it. There's also spiritual desires. People say, I'm going to do something to go heaven. People say, sacrifice, give your time to God to go to heaven. So, the desire is a desire.
Correct.
Is it fair to say that spiritual desire is okay versus material desire is not okay? I mean, when I say okay, I'm not saying that in a negative way, but you know what I'm saying?
Desire is a desire.
Yeah,
Desire is a
you want to go
desire.
to heaven, right? So, God, please, I'll do the right thing. Really? Is that a fair thing? I don't know.
We'll come to that.
I know, I'm just
So spiritual desires versus material desires, right? So material desires is to fulfill our own senses, to satisfy our own senses. Right? Spiritual desires, the title or the word, the spiritual itself, it says that you are trying to fulfill the desire of the spirit, the supreme spirit. So there's little deeper, explanation on that. Material desire means we are trying to satisfy the matter, the body that is made with the matter, so which is our senses. So anything that we try to satisfy our senses, which are made with these gross elements, which is temporary, which is going to go anyway. So temporary. That's the reason we have to aspire for spiritual desires. Again, the spiritual desire is only not for our own enjoyment. Again, there also the highest philosophy is to give pleasure to the source where the happiness is coming from. Okay? So we'll discuss that.
And you'll describe how to do that too afterwards.
Yes, if you attend all 7 sessions. That's the last session, by the way. Yeah, I just mentioned about this. So immediately you go to an interview. Why are you putting this? Because this guy heard that the CEO of the company is a very good, strong believer of religion. So better I put him, then he will give a job. And so and praying out of fear. So we do all these yajnas, sacrifices, worships because out of fear for if I don't do this, God may be upset, right? So
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like heaven and all, it's been going on for centuries.
yeah.
So why would we say that it's out of fear? I mean, some people just do it, right?
Yeah. No. In general, there are some people who do havans and these sacrifices for a genuine reason, which is okay. But in general, people do it because of the fear. In general. So there are some people not out of fear, but out of love, out of certain things, they do it, which is okay. But there are most of them, when we ask them why are they doing it, they really don't have an answer. They say, if I don't do it, then my priest said I have to do this, otherwise my family will go through troubles.
So it's
Or
knowledge.
to avoid some troubles, I am doing this.
Right. So it's knowledge.
So that's what.
Or
But it's
traditions.
also there in the some of the scriptures, right? That you have to do these things.
Yeah. So but people don't do it with knowledge. So they just do because if I do this so and so puja, my Shani Dev will not be on me. So he will go away. To avoid Shani Dev, then I do this. Things like that. So which are all. I'm not saying those are not the valid reasons, but I'm just explaining these are the common reasons why people do. But the issue with these kinds of things is if you do not worship God without proper knowledge why you are doing it, if it is simply because of blind faith or blind belief or simple faith, what happens is that the beliefs and faith keeps changing. If my desires do not get fulfilled, then I stop going to acknowledging God, because I have been worshipping this God for so many desires, they are not getting fulfilled, so why should I do that? Right? So eventually our beliefs will change, our faith will change. When these things change, then we don't go to God. So because we don't have a solid foundation of why we are believing in God. Right? So why don't some people believe in God? Why? A lot of times when you go to people, when you say, why don't you believe in God? They say, there is no proof. I need a proof. Then only I will believe in God. So you show me God, you show me that God, then I will believe. Otherwise I will not believe. So no proof of His existence. And people ask, can you show me God? If they say there is God, then can you show me God? And how can a God exist and allow so much suffering and sin in this world? So a lot of this another common question people ask, there is no God at all. If there is God, why such a wonderful, almighty, powerful God allow all this nonsense to happen in this world? If He is not able to stop, if He cannot stop, that means He is not God. So if He is there, He should be able to stop all these things. So since things are happening, that means there is no God. Right? So does this resonate with all of you, sir, in general? Yeah. So now we will see scientifically what is the proof of existence of God and what is the definition of God. How do we define God? How do we prove, that there is God? And how to see God? I think that was something Raj was expecting. And how to acquire knowledge about God. How to know about God, first of all. So how do we do? So we'll try to address these things today. So proof for existence of God. If you want to, remember the acronym again, CLORD. C Lord. So creator, L means lawmaker, O order and design, D is demands and urges. So we will see what they are. Okay. So there are so many things that have been invented throughout this last century or before, last couple of 100 years, 200-300 years. So can you guys name who invented this?
Graham Bell.
Graham Bell, right? Graham Bell invented this. Wonderful. Correct answer. Who invented steam engine?
Tolstoy.
Does anyone know?
Tolstoy.
James Watt. So he's the one who invented the steam engine. Okay. And who invented telescope?
Galileo.
Galileo, right? Wonderful. Who invented light bulb?
Edison.
Is that?
Tesla.
Edison.
Just kidding. Yeah. That would be the odd one out.
Yeah, the real guy is actually Tesla.
Thomas Edison. Right? So, what are we trying to prove here? So, whatever we have seen till now, we believe that there is somebody who invented. I haven't heard anybody saying, who invented telephone. You guys did not say that telephone came automatically. Steam engine came automatically one fine night, it appeared. So for every invention that we have seen so far, you all know that somebody invented, somebody made it. When all these things are made by somebody, can things come automatically? No. So somebody made these things to appear. So when all these things can appear, when all these things are made by somebody, what makes us believe or what makes us think that this world that we are in came automatically? Right? Is it logical to think like that? can we say that, anything that we see, there is somebody made it. There is a person behind it, there is a brain behind it. But when it comes to the world, we say that no, there is no person behind it. What logic is that? How can we say that there is nothing behind this creation? So the creation implies creator. So whenever we see anything created in this world, whenever we see anything here, so that implies there is a creator. Things do not come automatically. So there is once, the famous scientist, what is his name? Newton. Yeah, exactly, Newton. So Newton, he created a solar system, entire solar system, a model of the solar system in his house. Very beautiful. Everything is there, perfect, right? So one of his friends, atheistic person, he comes to his house, and he asks, wow, this is so beautiful. This entire solar system is extremely beautiful. Who made this? Then Newton says that, no, I don't know how it happened. Night it was not there, and next day morning I came, and this solar system is sitting right there. Then his friend says, no, come on, don't talk nonsense. How is it possible? All of a sudden, how does it come out? He says, no, just all of a sudden it just came out. Last night it was not there, all of a sudden it came out. It appears everything and everything is running fine. Then he chastises him, Newton. So, no, this cannot be true. Obviously somebody made, otherwise how is this possible to come out? Then the Newton makes a point, exactly. When the small model of solar system, you think that somebody made, or I made, then what about this beautiful cosmic manifestation that we see? Everything, all the planetary systems, everything that we see in the, whatever we can see, how that is possible without any creator. Okay? So creation implies creator. Okay? Art implies an artist. We cannot find an art just simply saying that there is no artist, simply all of a sudden randomly, this art came into picture. So art implies artist. Right? There's such a beautiful creation. We can see so many, the living entities. Creation implies creator. All these things. How these things are happening here without somebody's intervention? Somebody's creating all these things. How is this happening? So anyway, these are all some of the examples. So another one is that another example. So once I went to a program, and there I saw a beautiful picture of a rose flower. Very, very beautiful picture of a rose flower. Then, immediately I asked the host, who drew this picture, who made this? Then they say, so and so person draw this picture and everything. I said, wow, it's very, very nice, they created this picture very nicely. And then, after that I went to a store where I found a very beautiful rose made with paper. So then I asked, I just looked at the label. So somebody made that, the beautiful rose. But then, when you come to the real rose, okay, the question comes, who made this? Then I cannot say that, no, the picture was made by somebody, the paper rose was made by somebody, but when it comes to a real rose, I say, no, there is no creator. How does that make sense? Right? So it doesn't make sense. So everything comes from a creator. Okay? Yeah, creation implies a creator. And what is this one? So scientists say the creation is because of Big Bang. So is it a Big Bang or Big Brain behind this? So we have to see, is it a Big Bang or Big Brain? So Big Bang, the theory, so the scientists say that Big Bang is basically everything was an explosion of a certain point. A simple point, because of an explosion under high temperatures or certain things, it got exploded, and the next thing is they saw this beautiful world. So does it make sense? Does it make sense?
Well, something had to cause the explosion in the first place.
Exactly. You got the right point. So even if the explosion has to happen, somebody should have caused it, or something would have caused it, that explosion. And where is that point coming from? First of all, even if there is a point, then the point has to come from somewhere. Or in this entire beautiful creation, if I drop a piece of glass, would it create a beautiful world? Is it possible? I bang something, I go and break something. Is it going to create a beautiful things like what we see in this world? Is it possible? So even the Big Bang theory, the scientists say that it's a Big Bang theory, but which nobody could prove, and it's still in work. It's always in work from last so many years, and it will continue like that. They can never prove. Scientists can never prove that it is because of Big Bang. It's just a theory. They say that it is because of that. But there are so many flaws in this entire Big Bang theory. So there is no way we can accept this Big Bang theory. Right? The same thing, such a beautiful building. If you completely blow the building, is it going to create a beautiful, picture or beautiful environment there? It's not going to happen. So Big Bang is not going to create the. So this we just say that. Yeah, if somebody can read this. Anyway. Good?
Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead and read some.
According to the Big Bang theory, everything began from a point of infinite temperature, infinite density, infinitesimal size, a point that is physically unrealizable, mathematically indescribable, beyond all conceptions of space and time. It should be emphasized that no theory of the origin of the solar system has yet won general acceptance. All involve highly improbable assumptions.
Yeah, so all these things that we talk about Big Bang or all those things, it's just an assumption. It's nowhere, it cannot be proven, or scientists cannot prove that. It's just a theory. That's what we say. Okay. So now, we talk about the lawmaker. Okay. So according to the definition we saw, how to believe in God, C-L-O-R-D. C is the creator. Creation implies creator. So now let's see how all these things are. We see so many thousands of. Have you ever seen the map of if you go to the Google Maps and see the flights, all the flights that are going. Have you ever seen that? There are so many flights in the you can see that, right? So there are thousands of flights that are flying in the air every day, every minute. Have you seen any collisions? Very rarely, but very rare. How is that happening? How is that possible?
There's a network.
There's a
Traffic
network.
management.
What is that?
I don't know. There's someone that.
So there is somebody who is managing all these things, right? So there is somebody behind all these things, working behind the screens to make sure there are no collisions in the air. Yeah. So all the traffic rules. Let's assume if there are no traffic rules, what happens? So many accidents. So whenever we see the traffic lights and traffic rules, we understand that there is somebody who is making the rules. Without making the rules, we cannot have all these rules. So there is going to be chaos, right? So just for the flights that we see or the vehicles that we see on the road, we know that there is somebody who made the laws. That's why things are in order. So the entire cosmic manifestation, if you see all these different planetary systems, they are roaming in a particular orbit. It's not 1 year, it's not 2 years, from millions of years. The sun planet, if it moves 1 millimeter close to Earth, we will be completely gone, eradicated. If it goes 1 millimeter away from our planet, Earth planet, we will be completely frozen. And this has been going on from time immemorial. How is that happening? There are so many millions and billions of planets that are in the orbit without any collision. How is that happening? So for a simple flight systems, we think that there is somebody who is making all the rules. How should all these things operate? Then how are these things operating without any brain behind this, right? So all planets are floating like swabs of cotton in a perfect traffic control mechanism without any issues from millions of billions of years. How is all these things happening? So law implies a lawmaker. And there are natural laws, the perfectly everyday morning we see sunrise and evening we see sunset, and all different seasons, so and so time we see the winter, immediately it comes, spring, winter, summer, fall, everything, is going on and on for ages. How are all these things happening without a lawmaker? Without a lawmaker, it's not possible. Okay, so that is. And who said this? Albert Einstein. He says that there is a perfect brain behind all the natural, physical laws. So who created the law that apple has to fall down? Scientists say that it's because of the law of gravity. But who made this law of gravity? Why the apple doesn't go up? Why it has to fall down? It's because of the gravity. But who made this gravity? Who is defining all these laws? That has to be like this. Huh? It's because there is somebody, there is a lawmaker behind all these things who defined all these rules. Right? Why there is only little hair on our eyelids? Why there is a lot of hair on our head? Just imagine if there is so much hair on our eyelids. Can we see? Perfect design. So many things like that in our own body. How is that possible? Who defined all these rules? So there is a lawmaker for all that. Okay. So order and design. And the perfect design. So we know that there is a design for the iPhone or iPads, and so there are so many things that are happening. And when it comes to our own, who designed this? Look at giraffe. Longest neck. Giraffe's heart is 11 kgs and it's 2 foot long. Kapil is a doctor, he can speak more. One-way check valve, spongy tissue. Look at this. This particular very small bird, it flies 1,000 miles every year during the season. It goes to different place, migrates to certain place, and again it comes back. Right? 1,000 miles it travels every year. And it flaps wings 75 times a second. And this is not a huge bird. If you look at the size of the bird, you will be surprised. And total 6 million wing beats in the lifetime of that bird. And it weighs only 3 grams. That bird weighs only 3 grams. It travels 1,000 miles, flaps wings 75 times a second, 6 million wing beats in the entire life of the bird. How is that possible? How is that, who designed this? Without a design, is this possible? Yeah? Camel can live without water for 8 days, and the camel has eyelids which are transparent. 130 liters at a time. It drinks. And long legs. And it's completely suitable to live in the areas of deserts. Completely suitable. Who designed that animal to live like that in that area, in that place? Huh? And design of the human body. How amazing is that? Especially when you think about the pregnancy, So just imagine one living entity, another living, one body in another's body, growing there for 9 months and coming out of the body. It's unbelievable, unimaginable, right? Can any scientist make a mission where you feed grass and milk comes out? Is there any scientist who made a mission, you feed grass and milk comes out? Is it possible? Have you ever seen like that? Have you seen any scientist making grains in the lab? Have you seen any scientist, giving life to something from scratch? I'm talking about generating something. Have you seen that? Is it possible? Right? It was mentioned that our human body entire digestion system is made in such a way that if somebody has to replicate this, the modern technology with nanotechnology, if somebody has to replicate that mechanism, the factory would be 15 miles to digest one piece of bread. At least 15 miles. Still there is no guarantee that it will work. That's a different story. Yeah? But we are able to digest everything. Perfect mechanism. Right? How is that possible? No? So the entire system, right? The mother, until the baby was born, few minutes before the baby was born, there is no milk in mother. But as soon as the baby is born, there is milk. How is that possible? Who designed all these things? So without a lawmaker, without an intelligent brain behind this, these are all things not possible.
I have a question.
Yes.
Well, what about what's your stance on evolution? Because I guess like science says it's because all of life on Earth started from algae and it slowly evolved, and whatever worked stayed, whatever didn't died off, and that's why the design is perfect.
Yeah.
Because since it survived, it kept procreating and it kept becoming better and better and better and better, and that's why. So, what would you say to that?
Did everybody hear the question? Could you repeat?
I guess just my question was what his stance on evolution is, because evolution states that it's survival of the fittest, basically.
Yeah.
All life on Earth started from algae, and algae slowly evolved into the next thing, into the next thing, into the next thing. And the only reason it happened was because it was able to survive. So I guess the only question is who created that algae. But after the algae, it's all automatic.
Yeah, so I mean, you got the answer by yourself.
Yeah.
So basically, who created the algae? Yes, even that philosophy, even that theory that life comes from life, the way the scientists are producing, they still do not have enough evidence or enough explanation. For example, they say that the human being came from monkey. How the transformation happens from monkey to human being, it was never shown. It was never proven, right? If the human being is coming from monkey, then what happened to monkeys right now? The monkeys, we still see the monkeys. We have never seen any monkey becoming human being till now, at least from last millions of years, right? We have never seen that. It's still happening. So monkeys are there, human beings are there, but we have never seen this transition between one animal, one living entity coming from another living entity. So transforming. So even scientists could not prove that. It's just a theory.
But Prabhu, we do see like new species that occur all the time. For example, there's a species of mosquito that got trapped under the subway stations in London during World War II, and then it later became so genetically distinct that it was its own species compared to the mosquitoes above ground.
I mean, there is a mutation of species that happens. Mutation means within the same species, there can be mutation. Different version of that same species will be there. But completely new species will not happen. So far it did not happen. So for example, there is a mosquito, right? Because of the mutation, genetic mutation and things like that, another type of mosquito, another similar species may come out, but completely not totally different species. That's not possible.
But we consider as humans and then we came from monkeys. I mean, same classification, right?
No, monkeys are different species. Human beings are different species. There are 8.4 million species of life. There are 8.4 million species of life. Okay? When we say species, what does it mean? Species means a consciousness, category of consciousness. Okay? Out of 8.4 million species of life, only 400,000 are human species. Only 400,000, only 4 lakh are human species. Remaining 8 million are different living entities, different species. For example, when you say species, the living entities in water, they are considered as one type. Within that water living entities, there are different types, right? There are creepers, there are plants, there are trees. They all come under one category. Okay? Animals, if you look into the animals, then there are monkeys, there are elephants, there are depending on the consciousness. So when we say 8.4 million species, we are not talking about the population. We know that population is 7 billion. But the 7 billion population human beings, they all come under 400,000 species. This 7 billion population comes under 400,000 species of life. Based on the consciousness, so 400,000 different types of consciousness is there. Based on that particular body is awarded for that. Okay? So people are confused. I can see different confused look.
I think you said 7 billion. There's only 7 billion people. There's a lot of other
living entities.
Yeah, so 400,000 is for everything, not just
400,000 is only for the
humans.
human beings. Human species.
Oh, there's only one species for human beings.
Yeah.
It's Homo sapiens.
No.
No, but
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
it is.
When I read it, the child, or like you mentioned,
Yeah.
I read as types of humans. That's what I heard. Not species, but the type of
Yeah, yeah.
humans. That's what I read.
Correct.
Maybe
400,000 human species means 400,000 types of human consciousness basically. Based on the
On the
consciousness.
conscious side.
Yeah.
When
So
did
bas-
we come?
What is that?
When did we arrive?
When did we arrive?
So if we don't go with this, that evolution,
Yeah.
when did we arrive?
Yes, that will come too. So there is a third section, section 4, which talks about who am I, where we come from.
I will be.
Yes.
Where do keep coming?
So, but yeah, so that's what it is. Basically 400,000 types of human species or human consciousness, and remaining 8 million are different living entities, different types. Like all the water is different.
Conscious means, what are you telling? That means
Um,
our forefathers are not highly conscious like us?
no, nothing like that. All human beings, that's what I'm saying. Let me put it this way, simple terms. 400,000 types of
types of conscious means what? I didn't understand that the
But
whole word.
How I interpreted it,
Yeah.
race, for example, skin color, for example, eyes, for example, mind, for example, some people bipolar, some are not bipolar. I
Yeah,
think
in-
that variety, those are not diseases. I think that's how when you're born, what is your,
You can put it that way.
that's how I
Yeah,
interpret
from our material vision perspective, when we see perspective,
Simple,
that's how
yeah.
we can see that. Yeah. But the behind that, the logic behind that is because of the consciousness of the people. Okay. See, your body is shaped. You are getting certain types of body, certain things based on the consciousness of the individual. That's little deeper topic. We'll come to that point eventually. That comes to the situation where we are talking about why good things happen to bad people or why bad things happen to good people. When we talk about the philosophy of karma, then we will understand why different people are like that, why we see different people, different things are happening to them. But the point is that the 400,000 types, based on the consciousness of the living entity, we get that type of a body, even in the human species itself.
So they look same.
Yeah, they are all human beings. They are all human beings. Yeah, I mean, same two eyes, nose, but you see, for example, just to give a crude example, it's just crude. So the Chinese look much different.
Yeah.
They are also human beings. They have 2 eyes, 2 ears, everything is same, but they look much different from Indians look, right? So if you look at different around the world, if you look at the 7 billion people, you totally different things we see. Why is it like that? Why? They are all human beings, right? That categories we are talking about 400,000.
So you're using the term species and the spirituals then?
What is it? Spiritual
Consciousness.
You're using-
consciousness.
You're using this species where not scientific, but spiritual.
Yeah.
ones.
but if you read the Gita, it clearly, the translation says type, so just
Yeah.
why there could be, it's just 400,000 types of people.
Yeah, I mean, types is probably a better word,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
So ultimately it translates back to the consciousness. That's why we say that.
Chetan Prabhu's explanation on the same subject, I'll forward it to you.
Yeah. You can forward in the group so that people can read that. Okay. And the order and design in the human beings, we just elaborately spoke about it. Just look at one cell. So Kapil is a doctor who can say more elaborately. So it's so intricate. So the DNA of the nobody can replicate. The DNA, which is a blueprint of a human being or living entity, the cell, it's impossible to replicate by anybody. So how does that come into picture without any creator? So we just spoke about this. The sun emits, I can't even tell what that number is. If somebody can tell that. Gigawatts of power per second. Typical nuclear power plant is just 1 gigawatt, and then just see the sun emits every second that much gigawatts of power sun emits. And it's been going on from time immemorial. We don't know. It did not reduce. Yeah. So creator, the lawmaker, order and design, and the demands and urges. So for every urge that we have in our life, there is already fulfillment created by the Lord, created by somebody, right? So you have urge to drink water, thirsty. There is a water. You have hunger, then there is a food. Everything is already, for all our natural urges and demands, everything is already provided. Who is providing all these things, fulfillment of all these urges in the nature? It's all, they are not coming from something random. Okay? So these are the creator, lawmaker, order and design, demands and urges. So these things at least prove that there is some higher power, there is God who is able to do all these things. Okay? So any questions so far? Are we good? So then we'll see. So now we understand, at least we are all on the same page that yes, there is a creator. These are the scientific reasons why we believe that there is God. Instead of saying that blind faith, I just believe. At least we know if somebody asks, why do you believe in God? We have all these reasons to say that there is God. So now the question comes in, who is God? How do you define God? How do you define God? What is the definition of God? Yeah? So some people say God is light. What is that light? Is it a torchlight, tube light, headlight? What is it? But God is light, right?
Energy.
And some people say God is nature. For me, when I go to nature, when I see everything, yeah, that is God. God is nature. And some people say You are God, I am God, we are all God. Right? So what is the true definition of God then? Who is God? How do we define God? How do you define God? What do you guys think?
I think it's different for each person.
Yes, that's a problem in the world because everybody has their own opinions. So everybody thinks that God is this, God is that. But there should be some common definition where everybody can accept. So it has to come from somebody, right? So God means He is the supreme source of everything, the supreme controller of everything, He is the supreme proprietor, and also He is the supreme enjoyer. So when we say God, God is the supreme source from whom everything is coming from, and is the supreme controller. Everything is controlled by, ultimately everything is controlled by that entity. And then He is the supreme proprietor. He owns everything. Because if He is the source of everything, that means He is the owner of everything also. He is the proprietor of everything. And He is the supreme enjoyer. So Raj was saying that, because He is doing all these things for His enjoyment. Yeah? So He is the ultimate supreme enjoyer.
I got a separate, different question now. See, the controller, I just want to make sure people, this is because I've been going for different discussions, so the controller word always used to get me a bit. Because people say, hey, I'm praying to God, please don't let the hurricane come here. Okay, but the main thing, I think the key thing you defined up earlier was law and order.
Yeah.
Because the control came because He defined the laws, that He's not going to intervene in what He's already built. That's my understanding. Because control, I've done it, take it will work, The sun will still go megawatts and, whatever, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just throwing it out there because the controller, to me, is like past tense already. It's already happened. He's already created the world. He's already created the laws and the order and the design. Therefore, I step away. The God steps away. That's how I see it.
Okay.
So you don't feel the controlling thing anymore. Because no matter how much you pray, it's not going to happen your way. It's going to happen the systematic way.
It's a little questionable. So
Answer that. Go for it. That's my challenge.
So yes, God does not interfere in our day-to-day things. Like Raj was saying, He created the entire system and things are going on automatic, which is true. You are right in that sense. But ultimately, even all these laws, everything that is created, who created this? So God. So ultimately, He is the controller of all these things also. Right? He is the one who is controlling all these laws. So that is one thing. But then, can God change certain things? Because is it like autopilot? I created the rules, I set everything, it's in auto motion, and God does not have to do anything with this. Is that true? Then what is the need of prayers? Why people pray?
Exactly. Exactly.
What is the purpose of prayer then? Right? So, yes, God did everything goes automatically. That is for people who do not want God in their life. Okay? But if you want God to intervene in your life, God is there for you.
If you don't want it, then God don't interfere with us?
No. You just go according to the rules of the law. He created the law, and then you go by the law. So you do. If you do this, you are going to be. You will get this results. If you do this, you will get results. If you do this, you will get punished like this. Everything, all the rules are set up, right? So now, if somebody doesn't want God to interfere in their life, He does not interfere. Okay, I did everything for you. You don't want me. I will watch, but I will still sanction. Meaning, without sanction of the Lord, nothing happens. Without sanction of the Lord, nothing happens. That's the only thing He does. Otherwise, He does not interfere with you because you do not want Him to be interfered. Make sense to that? Let's say, for example, my daughter or son who is there, and right now, my children are under my control. So I'm telling whatever I'm telling them to do certain things. They are doing. They are following. Go to school. She is going, and everything happening. But one fine day, my daughter or my son comes and says that from tomorrow onwards, I don't want your interference at all. Leave me alone. I don't want you. I don't want to see you. I don't want your interference in my life. I want to live independently. I'm giving hypothetical example. Okay, so then you say that, okay, I will not interfere in your life, but behind the screens I will provide all the facilities for you. You go and stay there, you do whatever you want. But when you want me, I am there for you. Just make a quick call, I will be there for you, do whatever you want, I will do. But if you don't want me to interfere, you be on your own. But however, I provide all the facilities and everything for you to continue.
And that's the thing, right? So some people, that's what people say, like you're in ER, somebody's dying, somebody's like, God, please, because the law is there, right? The person is meant to die, the person is meant to die, right? So that's what I'm trying. That's why I want to keep my life simple, based on the law order, because this gets really confusing when people say you pray for. Okay, it goes back to desire, right? So oh my God, the word is so complicated. Your rules are very complicated here. Now, if I keep it simple, the law is made, let it go. Simple as that. Because everything else is a desire. You're praying for a desired outcome, which is not the intent.
Right.
Because the spiritual desire is different than asking God to intervene. So now we're conflicting the situation already. Because you want the God to intervene, you are going to the first law, the desire part, which is conflicting.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to say, fine with controller, I don't have issue, but it's already in place, it's already in play, we're just following through the process. That's how I look at it. I'm not saying, while I'm following the process, that doesn't mean I don't believe in him, but maybe I will not wash it crazy, maybe I'll just keep him in my mind, in my heart, and that's about it, which I think is fine. I'm going far ahead. But anyway.
Yeah, no, that's a good question and good discussion. That's what, there are different scenarios we have to analyze, Raj. So one is, as you said, he's a supreme controller in the sense that he defined all the rules, everything is going on, so he's aloof from all these things that are happening. Which is true, but ultimately, still he's a controller because he's the one who's controlling all the rules and everything.
I don't think he's aloof. I think he's enjoying it. He wants to see, he's given us 15% of our brain capacity to see what we're going to do with our lives, what we're going to do, and with the life he's given us.
Yeah.
I think he's enjoying it. I'm not saying he's out of the picture, I'm just saying he's letting us be.
So I have a question.
Yes, Martin.
So if he is facilitating, right? So he is facilitating around
Facilitating,
the karma, right?
Yeah. But he already made the rules. If you do like this, you are going to get this. If you do like this, you are going to get these kinds of results. Everything is different.
Facilitating means like somebody is like rich, somebody is poor, so he is giving that to that person.
Based on the karma.
Based on the karma.
Yeah. Because I did some karma activity and God already defined all these rules. If you do this, you will get this kind of result. If you do this, you get this kind of result. The system, entire system is made already. But who made the system? God made the system. So if you are, as long as you are in the system, you do something and he is going to grant. Okay, you want to do this? Yes. So because of your karma, because of your past activity, this is the result you are supposed to get. You will get it. He will grant that. Right? Based on your karma, you are going to get all these activities. So this entire thing is defined like that. But these definitions, everything is made by the Lord. So in that sense, he is the ultimate controller of everything. But Raj's point is that if then there is no point in praying because everything is defined, everything is done. Then what is the need of praying something? Praying to God, everything is done.
To wash your karma, bad karma or something.
Yeah.
How do I know what was the karma I did in my past life?
Because
You don't
right now,
have
if
to
you are
know, just
miserable,
wash
you
out
need bad.
whatever you did.
So that philosophy, what you are saying, Raj, there are two types of philosophy there. So there is something called karma mimamsa philosophy. Karma mimamsa philosophy is where it says that everything is happening because of my karma. Okay, whatever is happening right now, everything is because of karma. I don't have anything. But if you look at it, exactly. So if you look at the fallacy with that philosophy is that if everything is happening based on my karma, we are like machines. That means you don't have any control over anything. Right? So today, for example, you came here, you made a choice to come here. It's not that you are forced, karma dictated to come here.
I know.
So that means, what that means is that, yes, the karma, the law of karma gives you the situation, that puts you in certain situation. That is the karma. But then how you act on that is the individual living entity's free will. So based on your free will, then you are defining the next karma.
Sure.
Okay? Whatever we are experiencing right now, it's because of the previous karma. We are in certain situation because of the previous karma. Then what should be your future thing? That depends on how you act right now. So how you act right now it's not defined by your karma. It's a choice you make.
So
Does it make sense?
So that's all good, but because
Yeah.
you brought in Raj doesn't say to pray, I just said that. The point I'm trying to make to
Yeah,
whatever
but-
you just said, all this I agree. It's got nothing to do with prayer, nothing to do with worship. That's my point.
No, it
the
will come.
worship and prayer, it gives you the mental strength to follow the laws.
If I know what that prayer is about, half the time nobody knows what they're praying for. Or you're praying for the desire, right? So we'll get that. I'm not disagreeing with you, but I think that's why I always challenge people. Don't simply the one you said tradition, blind faith. Just follow because people are praying. I pray. I'm not saying don't pray. I'm just saying let's get to the point where how much you want to do. It's individual. Right?
Yeah. So I mean, the prayers do have powers. When you are praying to the Lord,
Sure.
that means you are asking Lord to interfere in your life.
Okay.
Why would somebody who is a sentient being who loves everybody, when I'm calling, I don't care about you, I set a rule, you just do whatever you want? Why
So
would
it's like the
somebody do that?
pattern, the example you just gave, right? I'm out now, but when you call me, I'll be back in.
Exactly. So the prayer is a call.
I understand, but this is conflicting right now. But anyway, continue. We'll come back.
We'll
to that.
continue a little more. So prayers do have effect. It's not that God cannot do anything.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
So God can do something. So prayers will have effect. And again, it depends on the how sincere you are with the prayers and what is the mood of the prayer. It depends on so many things. But it is not that it is written on stone. So now everything is defined. So you have to go through the situation, whatever. No, it's not like that. So situations can be changed based on your own action. How you are choosing to act, that defines your next the future things. Okay?
So I have one just analogies.
Yeah.
I mean, so like the traffic controls and all these laws are made.
Yeah.
But when we have free will to drive, like you can go 60 miles, you can go 70 miles, or maybe 70 miles is the limit. But if you go 80 miles, what happens? The cop is going to come and intervene in your free will. so when there are intruders or hijackers,
Yeah.
then ultimately some source has to come to intervene.
And to intervene. Yeah. Some higher power has to come and then intervene certain things. Yeah. That's true.
So Prabhu, one thing I want to say.
Yes.
So if we want to forget Krishna,
Yeah.
but Krishna never forgets what the service we did. Like,
Correct,
so
correct.
then I guess my question would be like, if we want to forget Krishna, but Krishna doesn't want to forget us, then how does that act together?
Yeah, because we want to forget Krishna, then says, okay, that's fine. But he doesn't forget. He will be waiting for us.
But he'll also give hints in between to pull you back.
Yeah. He provides some certain circumstances, situations, and then where you can, you can come back. So yeah, we can forget, but he doesn't forget anything that we do for the Lord. Yeah. But for example, you go to the temple and you tell that, for me, this is just a stone. God, you are just a stone for me. Then he will act like a stone for us, because that's what we want. When you go to the temple, when you see the deity, if you are moved that this is just a stone, then God says, okay, you want me to be like a stone? I will be stone for you. But if you treat him like a person, you talk to him, then he'll talk to you. He'll reciprocate accordingly. So it all depends on how you want to deal with God. God will also reciprocate or respond accordingly. So that's what most of the time what we do is we do not want God's interference, because we say that okay, I want to be on my own, I'll just enjoy. Only when I want something I'll pray or do whatever it is, but otherwise I just want to be on my own. But when you invite God into your life, then he shows special interest on you. So then he takes care of you a little more at that point. Even otherwise also he's taking care, but indirectly. Indirectly. Like a jail, so the jail is also supported by the government. All the funds are coming from the government only, right? So the food and everything that is supplied in the jail is also coming from the same source. So the government is supporting jail also, but in a different way. Same thing for us. If you are on your own, you can do that. If you transgress the rules of the Lord, he will put you some kind of a jail which is like a material world. So we have to maintain like that. Okay, all right. Yeah, so the Lord is the supreme source. That's the first definition. This is the supreme source, supreme controller, supreme proprietor, and supreme enjoyer. Those are the four things that we say God means. So the supreme source. So, for my daughter, who is the source of my daughter? We parents are the source. Who is the source of me? My parents. Who is the source of my parents? My grandparents. Source of them, great grandparents. So if you keep on going like that, there should be some source where everything is coming from. Right? So that is the supreme source. So God means where everything is coming from. There is no source for God. God is the source of everything. If you say that, then where is God coming from? Who created God? That question itself does not make sense. If somebody created God, then whoever created, that becomes God. So God by definition means is the ultimate source. There is no source for God. Sarva karana karanam. He is cause of all causes. There is no cause for God. If there is some cause for God, that cause becomes God. So far with me? Yeah? This analogy of egg and chicken, which came first. So God can create everything. There was somebody asked a question that can God create a huge boulder which he cannot lift? Can God create a huge mountain or something which he cannot lift? How do you answer that question? You say yes or no? Oh, how do you say that?
Yes and no.
Huh?
Yes and no.
Yes and no? How? There is only one answer. Yes or no? How will you answer this question? Can God create something which he cannot lift?
No. If you pray God to fulfill your wish, He creates it, and He is not going to lift it because you are praying for not to lift it.
So the answer is he can create, and at the same time he can become bigger than that and lift also. So he can create, but again he can lift also. He can do that. Okay. He is the supreme controller. He is controlling everything. So if you look at this, all this, and the previous picture, if you look at it, so this presentation was made when Obama was as you can see at the time, it's an old presentation, but so at different times there could be some controllers, but the ultimate controller is the Lord. God is the controller of everything. And if you look at this human body, so we may have control of our body. That too, how much control we have on our body? Not much, very little. We may be able to control a little bit for few times, but even the natural urge we cannot control for much longer. Maybe 1 hour, 2 hours, then we have to rush. We cannot even control our own body. But the supreme controller, the Lord, can control everything, everybody at any time. Okay? And He is the supreme proprietor. So, I may be, owning a house. We say that I am the proprietor of this house, I am proprietor of this car, I am proprietor of this body, all these things we say. But what is our proprietorship? How long we can hold all these things? Is it possible? Can we really claim that this is my property forever? No. Now it may be my property, especially in India. I remember like 15-20 years ago, entire my state, the government came and said we are widening all the roads. Half of the properties are gone, some properties are gone, some of the properties are totally gone. They did not own anything. So until then they were thinking this is my property, I own this. But very next day, nothing. They did not have anything out of that. So what is our proprietorship that we have? Even though we may say that we are the proprietors, but our proprietorship is very temporary. We are only caretakers of this. While we are here, we are only caretakers of this. We should never believe that we are the proprietors of everything. Tomorrow government may take, somebody else may take, something else may happen. Right? So ultimately at the time of death, nothing belongs to us. Everything is gone. In one second, one flash, nothing. We are not owners of anything. It belongs to somebody else. So ultimately, God is the supreme proprietor. Because He is the supreme source, automatically He is the supreme proprietor also. And supreme enjoyer. So this is difficult to happen for many people. How is He supreme enjoyer? How is He enjoyer? See, there is independent enjoyer and there is dependent enjoyer. So for God, God does not depend on anything else for His own enjoyment. God does not depend on anything else for his enjoyment. He is known as Atmaram. That means completely self-satisfied. Is everything is there for him. He's completely satisfied. We are we like that? Is our happiness totally independent of anything? What do you guys think? Guru? No, right? We are dependent on something always. Yeah? Kapil, what do you think? What do you think? Dependent enjoyers. Are we dependent enjoyers or independent enjoyers?
It's too difficult to answer. I don't know.
So our enjoyment always depends on something. Our enjoyment always depends on something. We are dependent on things for our enjoyment. You know, if I get a phone, I will be happy. If I get a big house, I will be happy. If I get a TV, I will be happy. If I get a children, I will be happy. My happiness is defined by my surroundings and other things. Only when I see these kinds of things, we feel happy. We are always depending on certain things for our enjoyment, and we are ultimately we are depending on things that are given by the Lord. So without that, we cannot be happy. So our happiness is completely dependent on something else. But God's enjoyment is totally independent. He does not need anything to be happy. So He's the supreme enjoyer. So then, you know, we may say that, you know, but when we try to please God, when we do certain things to please God, God is a supreme enjoyer. Our happiness is there only by giving happiness to Him. He's happy. But still, when we give something, He feels pleasure. So when we please Him, then He will give the pleasure to us. It is like, you know, like for example, we have children, right? So every month we give, let's say we give some, you know, some $10 or $20 as a savings for them, right? Pocket money, yeah. I was not getting it. Pocket money. We give some pocket money to the kids. They are not earning, but we give pocket money to the kids. And on a birthday, the kid comes back and gives a gift to you, $50 gift. You feel extremely happy. It's not that you were not happy before. You are still happy. But now the kid comes back and gives you a gift of $50. You feel very, very happy. Even though that money belongs to who? Who gave that money? The money is given by you only. You know that you gave that money to the kid, but kid gave back some portion to you, then you feel extremely happy. Even though you did not need it, you did not want it, but still there is a happiness. Similarly, when we try to please, then what happens to the father? Father feels extremely happy, and the pocket money increases next month. So he increases the pocket. Similarly, when you please God, then God will automatically please you. It's natural reciprocation of the Lord. So our enjoyment is totally dependent on God's enjoyment. If we make Him happy, then we will be happy. If we try to enjoy separately, independently, then we will end up in misery. Ultimately, we end up in misery or it becomes temporary.
Why do we end up in misery when we decide to enjoy?
Yeah, so because that is the nature of this world. So any enjoyment that you try to do here without satisfying Him, what happens? The enjoyment that you are trying to get here because of the senses, basically. You know? So you are trying to enjoy your senses, and that makes it temporary. So, and any temporary happiness, once you are attached, then you will end up in sorrow, sadness also, because it's ending, you know, and there's no guarantee that will bring you happiness and things like that. So finally, you will end up in these dependence. So any enjoyment that you get through the material senses, there is a seed of misery planted already right there. It's just matter of time when you are going to experience that misery as well. So that's what it is. Yeah, Sandeep.
How do we know he's like completely satisfied or enjoyed? Like if you have your kids and you know that they're suffering or like this, you will naturally not be fully satisfied and you will not be like completely aloof from them. Right? So you would not say like you would be completely satisfied. So how do you say that he's already satisfied with what he has?
So it is like when you are hungry, how would you know you are satisfied? Your hunger is gone. When you eat something, right? When do you stop? When do you stop? When you become full, when you become satisfied, you get the satisfaction that now I am done. My hunger is gone. My hunger is gone. I am getting, you know, I am getting my proteins and everything. So then you automatically know that okay, now I am satisfied. Similarly, when you are trying to satisfy Lord will give you enough intelligence that you know He's happy or He's not. So he will give you the intelligence, and also you feel like doing more and more. When you are feeling happy, then you tend to do more and more. You get more enthusiasm to do that more. So that way you know that yes, God is appreciating.
I think his question was,
Yeah.
if I may,
Yeah.
is that you already said God is always happy. There's nothing that can make him sad. So I think that's what his question as a parent.
No, I did not say nothing make him sad. I said he's always happy. He's already satisfied.
Well, that's contradictory statement now. You cannot
No.
say always happy, infinitely happy, and then he cannot be sad. I mean, he will be sad. You got to answer that question.
He must be
Because
beyond.
his point was, as a parent, if my daughter or kid
Yeah.
is not well, how can I be happy? And that's the question he asked. That there's a void somewhere. But
Is
he's
that what
saying
you
God
asked?
doesn't have any void. You see what I'm trying to get to?
So how he can be how he can be happy
How-
when the kids are
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, see, by different, there is something called tattva. Tattva means the philosophical aspect. God is always happy. He is Atmaram. However, when his kids are doing like this, there is some sadness. It is not that he's a sadist. He feels always happy when the kids are doing. That's not the point. but at the same time, yes, he wants all of us to be with him. He will feel more happy when we are there. But otherwise also, God is by definition, he is always satisfied. He does not need all of us to provide happiness for him. His happiness does not depend on us.
So I think there's the separation. Being contented and satisfied is different than being happy or sad. They're two different things. I think that's what you have to delineate.
Yeah, I mean, so that's what. So of course, God is a like a beautiful, wonderful parent. He will not. Obviously, he's looking for all of us. It's not that you guys struggle. I'm extremely happy. So it's not like that. But again, so there is little more philosophy there, which I do not want to bring right now. It's not just a black and white statement where I say that when we say God, there are so many deeper things inside it. Finally, we have to see who is that God, what is he doing, and who created this world. Then when we understand, bifurcate certain things, then this will become little clear. But if you are ready, I can tell you. You guys want to hear?
Yes.
Okay. So the ultimate, I mean, this comes under future sessions, but I'll tell you right now. So the ultimate creator, ultimate source, everything coming from is one God. That is Krishna, according to Bhagavad Gita. Okay? Everything's coming. So God as a creator, he does not have to deal with all these things. He is a supreme enjoyer. His role is only to play with his devotees, enjoy, with all these things. That's all he is doing. Like a billionaire, super duper rich billionaire. Does he have to go and build his company? He has to put bricks and mortar to make a company. Does he have to do anything like that? What he will do? He will go and play golf. He will go on his tours. He will enjoy with his family and family members. All he will do is he will appoint somebody else to take care of all other his business. Okay? Yeah? So far you are with me? So if I am super duper extremely rich, do you think I have to go and work and make people work and deal with my day-to-day dealings? Do I have to do that? I don't have to do all those things. I will appoint somebody else and say, you take care of all these things. Okay? For me, I just want to go around, tour around, go visit different places. I will play golf. I'll enjoy. That's what I will do. You take care of all this business. Okay? So, the God who is a supreme enjoyer, then he creates his replica. I am just, putting in a normal terms. He creates his replica and he tells, you take care of all these things. I don't want to deal with all these things. Does that make sense? So now that replica.
Extension.
Yeah, extension you can say. Replica you can say, So clone you can say. I create a clone of myself and then I tell my clone, you deal with everything.
So are you talking about like the demigods, the Shivs and
Yeah,
all
not
those?
demigods also. We haven't come to the state of demigods yet.
And what is
Yeah, so
what's a clone?
that
Is it us?
yeah, clone. We are not even clones. We are not even clones.
No, the thing is we are in the form of God, right? We are made in the form
We are
of God.
clones. We are not clones. We are clones. We are not clones. So Krishna, being the supreme enjoyer and supreme controller, he creates an extension, or he expands himself into another personality. That personality is called Vishnu. So Vishnu is the one who is doing all this job of creating, maintaining everything. He is the one who is taking care of this. He is dealing with all that. But Krishna by himself, who is the source of everything, creator of everything, he is aloof from all these things, day-to-day activities. He is still enjoying in his own place. He is dealing with all that stuff. Okay? But Vishnu is the one who is dealing with this creation, everything, all these material universes, creation of the material universes, dealing with all these living entities, everything is taken care by Vishnu. So Vishnu is an extension or expansion of Krishna. So in that sense, both are same, but at the same time, the original source is still there and is a copy of that. Okay? So that is from philosophical aspect of, that's what it is. So going back to, is Krishna really happy when everybody is, struggling? Krishna made all the rules and everything, so yes, if you go back to him, you will be very happy. It's not that, why did you come here? So you will be very happy to see all of us in the home, back home. That's always there, but at the same time, it does not deal with all these things on a day-to-day basis. That's what it is.
So it's easy, no? So I delegate my parenthood to somebody else, and I go around, and But the point, I think you didn't answer his question, which is my question too, right? I get where you're going with all that, but you didn't answer. You did not address his question, because the question was, if somebody's in trouble, as a parent, would you come and help?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But if God is aloof doing his own thing and Vishnu has to look after the rest, where is that, right? So there's no personalization is what we're looking for, right? Where is the connection? If I don't see that reciprocation, why what am I doing? Like parents is different. I know if I call my father today and he's gonna do something. But I don't know what the God is. Okay, it's Vishnu. Who do I call?
But why do
911. I'm just kidding. You know what I'm trying to get to. Just be a bit practical about what we're talking about.
No, but why do you think there is no reciprocation? Who said there is no?
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think, just to clarify Sandeep's question, I think going into, we will eventually get into a lot of other things, but just to understand and clarify his question. So basically, like, the Krishna is a enjoyer, controller, proprietor, source, right? So that's understood. Like as a dad. And he also wants his son to enjoy along with him. But if son or daughter or child wants to part away from him, is as a parent, he's still doing his duty.
Correct.
And he's making sure whatever his
everything is
child
provided for the
is
child.
needed is provided.
Correct.
So ultimately, since he provided, and the child is going to be happy as well. But I think what Sandeep is, the question is, why he has to create that and have them suffer? Because the God has created it because his child is enjoying it. So why is the child enjoying it? As a parent we are thinking. But if you take the position of a God, he's not thinking, because that's what he wants. The child wants that.
Is that your question, Sandeep? I think it comes back to something. Because Raj is understanding it one way.
No, I think maybe we should all
we have to ask the source where it is coming, where the question came from.
From one question there is multiple questions.
So Sandeep, you explain what was the question?
Oh, my question was basically like, when you're saying he's completely satisfied, how can he be satisfied when there is a lot of suffering for his kids?
Okay, that was the question.
Yeah, that is basically.
So
And I think he probably tied it correctly.
I can give you one example, like mom feeds a child like medicine or something, but she is happy, right? Because it's good for the child. Child is suffering, but it's good for the child. That's why she's
But the
giving
mom
medicine.
is doing an action. Is God doing an action for us? We do not know. Why am I still suffering? After medication, you may get better or you may get worse. But hello,
that's
hello.
what karma comes.
That's the virtual reality.
Yeah.
So say it that way, right? So let's not give the false promise that he's always going to look after you. So the question is, the law and order
Then who is
defined. Follow the law and order.
But who is
accept that?
Who is looking after you?
No, God is. But based on the law and order, getting back to my first
But who
question,
created the
he's
law
not
and
going
order?
to. He is not going to intervene. That's my point. No matter what you do, he's not going to intervene in that law.
No.
If he wanted to, he could.
He's God.
Sorry?
If he wanted to
Yeah,
intervene, he
could,
could.
but he won't, because then
Why?
you're being
How are you saying that?
you're being selective, you're being impartial. God has to be neutral to everybody. That's how I got this, right? Because somebody says, Guanji, that's going to be a disease. Help me, help me, help me. Is he going to come and help? Well, I'll help you, but I'm not going to help you because you didn't ask for it. So, point being, the law and order has been defined. You have to work within those means.
But God could break the law and order.
If he wants to, has he ever? That's the question. Has he? Find me a fact in today's world. I'm sorry, the lady just now said yes. You got saved just now, right? I'm not denying that, but in general, right? I don't know. And she may have been saved because of her karma. Maybe she did the right thing, right? So again, it goes back to the law of physics, the karma, and all this. I'm not denying it, but what I'm trying to say is there's no such thing as a blind faith. Don't assume something's going to happen because you ask for it. It goes back to the desire. That's why I challenge these things, right? You got to be clear about it. You cannot say, I'm praying. What are you praying for? Am I praying for my afterlife? I'm praying for my today's life. If I'm praying for my today's life, that's my desire. That conflicts with your first statement that you made earlier. So we got to keep it simple. That's why I totally love the law and order concept. Creator, law and order. It makes total sense to me.
The desire did not make sense.
Karma makes sense to me, right? So, but the rest, if he wants to intervene, it's based on your karma. That's how I look at it.
Yeah. No. See, God plays role in our life based on the karma, ultimately, because the karma, the rules are defined by Lord.
Yeah,
do you agree?
absolutely.
So ultimately, is God's role in our life or not?
Sorry?
Is God playing a role in our life?
Definitely.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, right? Through this material nature, through karma, he's playing a role. Okay?
Sure.
But however, he can directly intervene in your life personally also. Not
Yes.
through agency, he can still come and do certain things. He can do it, it's not that he cannot do. Yes or no?
If you say that, then why am I not worth being intervened on? I mean, he can intervene. He's supreme.
Right.
Why am I not worth intervening on?
Right, he can, that's what
No,
I'm saying.
I get it. He
Yeah.
can intervene. He's saying it's all set in motion. He's saying he can do it. But apparently he's not going to do it. Because I'm not worth it. Why would he?
Yeah, exactly. Am I worthy? Am I worthy?
Okay, then you go back to it. It's not in your control.
Exactly.
Unless,
It's not in your control.
Is he trying to teach detachment there? Like you
Ah.
have been given an intellect, you do the best you can to treat the child. Like if the child is sick, you're suffering. I mean, you're like affected by it. But as per your intellect, yeah, you do whatever you can with
Absolutely.
your this thing, and leave the rest to that is the detachment you need to have. Otherwise, you will suffer, right?
Perfect.
he's a complete, according to the definition of the Lord, he has 6 opulences in full. One of the things is, he's a supreme renunciate. Renunciate means he completely renounces everything. He has everything, but at the same time, he is renounced from all these things also. He's a supreme renouncer. So that means he owns everything, but at the same time, he is not attached to those kinds of things also. He is not completely attached to that. So that is one aspect of the Lord. But again, going back to Raj, so I want to convince him today, no matter what.
So we are doing night out here?
It will take another 15 minutes and then we can close it out. But so, yeah, the concept of karma we are talking about, right? So, God is the ultimate controller. He's controlling everything through karma. Okay, that's one aspect of it, right? So your question was, yeah,
Karma of this life or last life?
karma.
No. You have to define it.
Everything. Previous life. It can be. It can be last life. It can be.
Then you go back to, do we have control in this life?
You have control in this life. You have control of your choices.
Exactly. Devil's
But-
Advocate, the movie is awesome. At the end, that's what it says.
So again, the control depends. Control becomes limited because the present situation, your situations are presented based on your past karma. But at the same time, everybody gets certain nature based on their past karma. Okay? So there is some default setting based on your past karma. So the example that is given is like, when you go to the browser, right? You search for something. You repeatedly search for something. After that, what happens? By default, as soon as you type D, the word comes automatically. It fills it. So that's a default setting. Or when you go to open Internet Explorer, automatically default certain things come up. All your preferences come up. but it does not mean that you can go back and change those. You have to put some extra effort to go and change your default preferences to act different way. Similarly, based on your karma, you are put in a certain situation, you are given certain nature to act upon it. Naturally, you have certain tendencies to act in certain way, but you still have a free will to act differently. So you have to put some extra effort to act differently. Okay? And this karma could be previous life, 10 lives before, whatever. So it's a very, very intricate, complicated mechanism, because karma is not just dealing with one individual. We're talking about so many lives, so many individuals. It's a complex network, so that we cannot clearly define when, what, sometimes your karma kicks in immediately, like very next second. Sometimes karma kicks in after 1 month. Sometimes karma kicks in after next life also. So it all depends on so many factors that are defined by the Lord. So yeah, and to get back to your question, if Lord has created everything, and how is He satisfied when we are going through the suffering? So the way it works is that before this material world is created, this entire world is created. When I said this material world is Dukkalayam Ashtaspatam, then we have to understand why this world is created first of all. Why Krishna has to create this world? When this is Dukkalayam and Ashtaspatam, why He had to create this? Right? So the living entities like us, when we wanted to enjoy separately, we said, I want to enjoy separately. I want to be the independent enjoyer. I want to enjoy independently without you. Then God, out of His compassion, out of His love for us, okay, you want to experience something, I will provide a facility for you where you can try to fulfill your desires, because you have certain desires. As a loving Father, I will provide you the facility where you can go and try to fulfill your desires.
But that is temporary.
Yeah.
That's Earth.
Correct.
That's Earth.
Because yes, ultimately He wants all of us to be with Him. A father never wants his child to go away and roam around in the world somewhere else. He wants his child back with him. But he says, okay, I want to go to Europe. He says, no, Europe is not a good country. Don't go there. It is cold. You are going to suffer. You are going to do anything. No. I really want to enjoy there. And I have snow. There is so much snow. There is so much sightseeing. As a father, I will say, you go there. I will provide a flight ticket for you. I will book a hotel for you. I will do everything for you. You go. You try to enjoy. But ultimately, I want you to be with me, because we both will be happy. Ultimately, you will be happy only when you are with me. I'll defend it. But the kid goes and tries everything there. The facilities, everything is provided by them. But then, when the father ultimately wants the kid to learn that, no, this is not my real thing. This happiness, whatever I'm getting, I want to really go back to you. Until then, he will just keep providing the facility for you. And then, the facility is made like that. The facility is made in such a way that you can try to fulfill your desire. That's the reason we have so many desires, and these desires are getting fulfilled. Who is doing all these things? Okay? The system is designed in such a way that you can fulfill your desires, but at the same time, the facility is in such a way that you are going to reform eventually and get back to it. If he makes it so comfortable here, then what is the impetus for us to go back to him? He has to create some situation for us to go back to him. Ultimately, he wants us. But we are not listening. Then what will the father do? Now Raj is thinking, how to beat this.
No, you still didn't answer the question, but it's a.
What is missing link here? Tell me. What is missing link here? Tell me still.
No, see. See,
the question is why God created something where we have to suffer.
No, I got that.
You got that.
Your logic makes sense.
Okay, good.
So the question is, we were all certain beings, souls, somewhere in part of Godhead, and we were so like, hey, we want our own desires, so God said, here, go there, go and do whatever you want. But he took up that thing from us that you are my son, that I need to go back somewhere, right? So that thing, because we do not know. So now you're saying, Raj, you should go no, just blindly say, yeah, you are his son, go back there.
Yeah, that's the reason. Yes.
There's something missing.
Nothing is missing. I'll tell you.
That's the
I'll tell you the missing link.
The conscience is missing.
I'll come to that missing link right now. So, now you guys are understanding right now so
Yes.
far. So he created this world
No,
so that
can you repeat
I'm coming.
this question?
He's coming, so he created this and now you do all these
He
things,
took out
but
the chip. He took out the chip.
he took out the chip that you don't have that anymore.
That you have
No,
forgotten.
what he's saying is,
Forget the-
if I understand him correctly, what he's saying is, okay, why did he even allow us to
Detach.
Forget him.
detach, forget him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
Because we cannot even remember our own karma. Forget that. We can't even remember that we
Yeah.
come from there somewhere.
Right. So why?
Then how do we know we're supposed to go back there when we don't even know where we came from?
Exactly. Very good question. Very good question. That's the reason.
I don't think it's God is forgetting us. It's our
No,
desire.
he's not
No,
even God
he's-
forget.
why did he even allow us to do that? That's what his question
Why
is.
make us forget him?
Yeah.
So I will tell you.
Why
I'm
he
coming
made
to it.
us enjoy separately from.
Yeah.
So
So
that's our desire,
That's part
right?
two. That's part two. That's fine. I'm okay with that part.
so now at least you guys understood why this world is created for us, right? Raj, you are satisfied with that. Okay, wonderful. You are satisfied. Kapil, you are okay with that. Okay. So now we know why we are here, but the question.
I don't know why. Oh yeah. Okay. For the desire. Why we
This session is recorded.
Yeah. Why we here?
So yeah, so we know why we are here, but the question is why God made us to forget Him. Okay, so it's a very good question. So now God did not make us to forget things. He created this world, but we are so engrossed in our own enjoyment. Okay? We are so engrossed that I'm getting this enjoyment. Wow, it's like this. I'll give you a simple example. So somebody what they did, they got a rat. They put a rat in a cage. Okay, in a cage. A very beautiful cage. A very beautiful cage. The rat is in the cage, right? Now the scientist, he put 3 buttons in that. 3 buttons, 3 switches. If the rat touches one switch, some nice honey drops. Okay. If another switch is touched, something nice grain, something else comes up. 3rd switch, if the rat hits, it gets a beating. Okay. So now, Lord, these 3 switches are alternated. It's not say fixed. So sometimes first switch gives honey, sometimes 3rd switch gives honey. This is random. Right? That mechanism is like that. Now the rat goes inside, touches one switch accidentally. Now the honey comes. Wow, beautiful taste. Very nice, very nice. Then it touches another switch. Then some grains come, which is very, very, very nice grains. The rat comes. So 3-4 times it started doing that. After that it touches one switch and then there is a beating. Okay. Now when the beating is there, wow, it's paining me, it's hurting me. But then again it touches another switch, then the honey is coming out. So then eventually what happens, anyway I am having this, nice, this honey I am getting this, the bread pieces or grain I am getting. Sometimes I am getting the beating, but that's okay because I am getting all 2 things. And eventually the rat forgets that he is in the bone itself because he is so engrossed in these activities that I am getting some kind of enjoyment here. Sometimes there is a beating, but that's okay, but I can still enjoy. However, Krishna, when he made all these things, however, out of his compassion, since he does not want us to forget, he himself comes personally to remind all of us, guys, don't forget me, I am your father, you have to come back. He comes himself. Not only that, he sends all his representatives time to time to remind all of us, you guys do not belong here, your original place is somewhere else, come back. He sends all the gurus to remind us. He sends all the teachers to remind us. Not only that, he gives us the manual. It's not that he just created the world and said, you guys do whatever you want, I don't care about. No, he said, if you guys want happiness in this world, if you guys have to come back, this is the manual of life. You guys have to follow this manual so that you know how to come back to me. I am giving you the map also, how to come back. He gave the map, which is nothing but our scriptures, Bhagavad Gita and all these things. He gave the manual, how to live in this life so that we can go back to him. Entire direction is given, maps is given to go back. He himself is coming time to time. He is sending his representatives. He is sending his holy name so that by then we can remember and go back to him. And he is coming in the form of deity, the temple worship deities, to remind us that, okay, this is not your place. So God is trying so many ways for us to remember him and get back to him. It's not that he just forgot aloof and with all these things. He doesn't care about all these things. Hope that addresses you.
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
You're good with that?
No, and so So one thing I just read, Prabhu, probably I think it will
Yeah,
help
yeah,
a bit.
yeah.
So the Lord doesn't want to force us to come back to Him, right? He wants us to realize and come back to Him. So that is why He's creating this environment where you have sadhu, shastras, gurus and scriptures and temples. So we can reciprocate, we can remember, yes, there's some supreme power and here is the supreme power, So that's one thing. And another thing also, this is the question and answer session from Srila Prabhupada and the devotee, just like us, right? We are asking questions. So if free will, the relationship between Krishna and us is never one-sided, never forced, never impersonal. It's always reciprocal, nurturing, personal and voluntary, in a mood of good exchange and feelings. Only then there can be real love. Okay?
Yeah.
So if free will is taken away from the marginal living entities, then we lose the ability to give and accept love. Okay? We become no better than dead stone or mindless robots.
Yeah. Perfect.
So
Yeah.
this is
So
perfect question answers.
yeah. This that's what. So it is because he does not want. Yeah. But does that address your question?
Yeah. I mean,
Kapil,
like
was that satisfactory to you?
You didn't address his question.
We addressed his question.
You answered my question basically that he has given signals and he has given the appropriate things that remember I'm here. So I can accept that, but at the same time, I don't think he's there to make everybody happy, right? So the pains and all, he cannot address it. I'm just saying he won't address it.
I mean, the conclusion is also that the suffering is there to remind us that He's there.
There should be some impetus for us to go back.
What? God, help me now! I mean, that's why you want me to remind, so I feel bad for you. I don't think he wants us to remind back to him.
Through
I
devotional
don't think so.
service,
Sorry,
through
yes.
devotional service and prayer to Krishna, he reduces that suffering, right? So
Yeah,
he gives you a token of that suffering. So that's the.
Definitely. Yeah, that's
Praying.
when you approach
So
him.
back to praying to get
So he's
to-
praying, yeah, then he reduces
when you
that suffering.
pray
So
him.
it's so-
Right.
I think Sandeep's question will probably come in the next two chapters.
No, but still, Sandeep.
I have one more question.
No. Before going to the another question, and ultimately you have to answer. Is that satisfactory to you? What I answered. So he's satisfied. He got
I have another question because it's not still.
No. Sandeep doesn't give up like you. Sandeep is another Raja.
So, alright.
No, but seriously, I mean, we can discuss more. If not today, next time we can do. But was that satisfactory answer?
A little bit.
So I have a question. So he is giving signal. So why is giving only signal to us, not like other people are sitting there, not Krishna conscious?
No, he is giving signal to everybody. It's like sun is giving sunlight to everyone. But if somebody is holding an umbrella saying that I am not getting sunlight, what is that? So he is giving sunlight, sun is giving sunlight to
Why
everyone.
they are
But I am
holding
holding.
umbrella and we are not?
Yeah. What is it?
Why they are holding umbrella and we are not?
Because of their freedom. They choose not to.
At some point, we were not holding the umbrella. We were also holding the umbrella. We said, okay, now we'll take the umbrella, and I want to
So you
accept
choose your free will to accept this path. So God does not intervene with our free will, because if he forces us to do certain thing, then there is no love. So he wants us to go back to him out of love, not out of force. If he wanted to force, he could have forced all of us, and then everything is over. The story is over, right? There is no question of all these things.
Suffering is a form of coercion then.
So,
In
yeah,
that
that's
scenario, suffering becomes a form of coercion.
No, but still a lot of people don't do that. They suffer, they just continue.
That's
what
fine,
many
but
people.
still, in that scenario, whether you choose to go back or not is coercion,
He defined a system in such a way
But
that.
why we are feeling suffering now? Because we were in his planet and we were serving him. We had the desire, so we forced the Lord to create this environment for us. So we came back. Now we are enjoying. But maybe after some time, after this enjoyment, it becomes like, no, I am suffering. Because for every happiness, there is a distress followed by that. So now that we are suffering, then that is why we are here to connect to the Lord. Because now we know exactly the scriptures and everything, the knowledge. So that's why the inquisitiveness has come up in our mind.
So back to the signal, back to the knowledge. No one in this world is equal, right? There are some people who are highly intelligent, some who are zero, right? So I think that's why we miss this. The people, the Aam Janta, they will miss that signal because you're not been, your karma has caused you to be a certain intellect level now, and that's why you don't see the signal. You got to improve slowly and get there at some point. And maybe so that's why I think that's why when I read the Gita, the translation one. The first thing the guy said is, "You guys are fools, uneducated fools. Don't gain knowledge." That's what the guy, the Prabhu or whatever. I'm sorry, I don't know how to say his name. He said that. I'm like, huh? But the point is, because we have a certain level of intelligence, we can understand this and we can see the signals.
Yeah.
So I think so. It's a cycle. Unfortunately, that's a cycle.
What is your next question?
There you go.
I mean, the question is more about like when we are in that higher consciousness, how is it? I mean, like when the start of the entire thing, like we think about like the entire universe or like entire creation started from the higher consciousness.
Yeah.
How would you have a desire to fall into a lower conscious level when you are already in the higher conscious?
Whoa.
So, I mean, there are multiple explanations for that. So, one of the explanations that founder Srila Prabhupada gave is that, again, so there are 3 types of energies Krishna has. God has 3 types of energies. One is called superior energy, supreme energy or superior energy, that is Krishna. And there is something called inferior energy, that is the material world. This is material energy. This is also God's energy only. And the living entities like us, we are considered as marginal energy. Marginal energy means we also have spiritual energy, but our tendency is we are designed in such a way that we can fall into higher side or we can fall into the lower side. It's like the example that is given. If you go to the beach, so there is some portion of the area where sometimes water is touched and sometimes it's not. The water comes and touches and goes. It's neither ocean, it's neither land. There is an area where it comes and goes. So similarly, the living entities like us, we are by nature, we are spiritual. However, we are very, very tiny compared to the Supreme Lord. So we can come under the influence of this particular nature, which is inferior to us.
I think
So,
his question, I'm sorry,
coming.
his question was,
I'm
if we were all up here,
Coming.
why did they have the desire and then that's why God made this earth?
That's what I'm saying. That's why we are not.
So don't start, you're starting here.
No, I'm not starting there. I'm starting 3 energies.
Okay.
And I'm talking about the 3 energies.
energies.
I'm talking about the 3 energies. One is a complete spiritual energy, which is here.
Yeah.
One is a complete lower energy, which is here.
Oh, but why is that low energy created?
That's where I'm coming here.
Only for us.
So there is, because this is going on eternally. The story is going on eternally. It's not just one particular time frame. It came and then it disappeared. Yeah? So then we are in the middle. We are on the cat on the wall. So we can choose to go this side or we can choose to go this side. That's our independent, because we have very, very tiny living entities. We have the tiny freedom. We can misuse that freedom. We have that tendency to misuse that freedom, even though we are spiritual.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I think what might have happened when God created is He might have pushed everyone to the
His
down
knowledge
to
is
the
like
lowest levels and asked them to come to His highest. Only when you realize.
So you're saying
Because-
God is sadist. So
Not saddest, but not. I mean, like if you are already at a higher consciousness, why would you even come here?
Because
So
that's
he's saying he's a marginal. We are
No, I mean even if you are marginal, your affliction there is with higher consciousness. So you would always have a tendency to higher consciousness beings. You cannot come down because he's saying you have a low potency. If you have a low potency and you have a higher potency being there, you would definitely be afflicted over to a higher consciousness. You cannot fall down.
The reason you go to the low potency is because you think it's not low. It's a lack of awareness. When you're in heaven, you think it's not heaven. You think you think the grass is greener on the other side.
Who gives that perspective? Because they're already higher
Free
consciousness.
will, consciousness.
Your choice.
No, that's a very brilliant question you are asking, and this question was asked by many acharyas, many sages in the past. To understand that it's extremely difficult. However, Prabhupada said this argument is going on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So Yes, this argument is going on for many ages actually. How did we come from? When we are pure spiritual souls, how did we even come from? Why did the desire come? I know you're asking the question, so I know. When we are pure spirit souls, when we are with that higher consciousness, how can we fall down? How can we even think that we want to enjoy separately from Krishna? Yeah, that's a very brilliant question. But that's what. So this is one explanation given, right? Because out of free will, since you are given a freedom, then and also we are marginal potency, the thought can come, which may not 100% satisfy us. Even I am not satisfied with that answer. I am just telling you theoretically, right? Number one. Number two, it is mentioned that is instead of understanding that, why did we even come from there, instead of understanding that we are in the ocean, we are struggling, you are trying to get some kind of a help to get out. Instead of trying to focus on how we came, try to focus on how we can get back. Because with our current consciousness, we cannot understand that. So two explanations. One explanation is because of our tiny independent free will that we have some point of time, we have desire to enjoy separately. That's why Krishna created this. That's a theoretical answer. But still, that may not satisfy 100% because we have higher consciousness. How can we do that, right? That question remains the same. But there is another theory which says that we were never part of the spiritual world. We were never part, but we are in the marginal area. We are never with Krishna, but we are in the marginal area. Because of that, we fall down. But then, by practicing all these things, you can go back to Him. Once you go back, you will never come back because now you tasted the higher.
Exactly. That makes sense because if you are already there, you can't. I mean, it's
So these are that's what I'm saying. There are two theories. There are two explanations. One explanation is what I first said. The second explanation is there are some acharyas say that you are never with Krishna before. There is a marginal place between spiritual and material worlds. You fall down from there. Then with this practice, now you will go back. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, if you come back to me, you will never go back to this material world. He says that promise. So now you go back, then you will not come back. So that's another explanation that's also
But
given.
another thing also is, right, how would you know something is bliss or happiness if you have never felt the pain? So it makes sense that you go through life, and then you go up there, you appreciate what you have, versus you just being there, you may not know what is the other green grass thing is.
Stop.
Not only that, another analogy, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Now Mukesh Ambani and Anil Ambani.
Yeah.
His father gave
Equal,
them fortune,
correct.
and one choose to grow up, one choose to fell down.
Correct.
So it's already provided, but it's all your choice, right?
How you made the choice and then how you became like that. Yeah, in that case, in the karma concept is also there, but at the same time, they did not take the right steps to go. One person grew in the same family, so another one became pauper in that sense. But does that? Yeah. But ultimately, that's what I'm saying. So it is very difficult to fathom that answer. Whatever the two answers I gave, one answer may be little satisfactory compared to other one. But still, it is very difficult for us at this stage. It's very difficult for us to fathom. That's why our founder said that instead of trying to figure out how we came down, now your focus should be how to go up. Pay attention to that. That's how That's how we reconcile that statement. That's what he said. Padmaga, you have any question?
Sorry.
That's okay. I know today it went little late, but it was.
Continue చేద్దామని మీరు ఇప్పుడు కంటిన్యూ చేస్తారా?
No, 9 o'clock. We'll continue next week. We'll continue
One
because it's already
analogy
9.
is, in India, you see people get into buses, right? So, I mean, even though there are seats empty, there are people who want to just hang around like outside, so they are kind of in the marginal space.
They don't want to get
Whereas
into the
people
bus.
who are inside the bus,
They want to choose to
they are already in the, the goal of
They
the
just feel like that. Yeah, they just want
They
to
want to
just
take
feel like
risk.
that.
That's fine.
So, but anyway, so officially, I think we will. It's almost like 9 o'clock. Very good discussion. Thanks to Raj and Sandeep. No, I mean, it was good. It was good. I hope everybody. I'm sure everybody was enjoying the discussion and trying to understand. I could see that. So it was nice. Thank you all for joining today. So we will continue. There is little more. I think maybe another half-hour discussion or so on this particular topic. So to finish, we will continue this in the next session.
Do we have next Saturday? Because Sunday is
Sir, next Saturday we will not have the session because there is a festival in ISKCON on Sunday. Next Sunday, it's one of the major festivals we have, and we have a lot of voluntary work to do there. So Saturday evening we go there to do all that. So that we will cancel next Saturday session, and we will regroup following Saturday, which is 31st. Yeah, 31st. Yeah, 30th of this month. We'll regroup and we'll continue this topic. Hopefully we will be able to finish this topic.